What if a fresh forest breeze liquefied your lungs? You sprint into a pine forest, but your throat blisters and your lungs bleed. You wildly crawl toward a filthy parking garage just to suck down tailpipe exhaust. This flipped reality sounds insane, but this exact chemical nightmare connects to something real in Earth's past. Welcome to a survival simulation. We are rewriting your cellular biology. We'll track your body, your city, and your planet. I know what you're thinking. You think this sounds impossible. But the twist waiting for you is verified science. Let's start with the first breath. 1 second later, you run into a lush green park. You inhale deeply. Invisible oxygen enters your lungs. Instantly, your throat burns. Ouch! It feels like chugging boiling battery acid. Your chest tightens. It feels like a massive Ford F-150 just parked directly on your ribs. 5 seconds later, your heart rate spikes to 185 beats per minute. Pure panic starts. You shouldn't ever underestimate invisible gases. Earth's air is packed with 21% oxygen. Normally, that data point keeps you alive. Right now, that 21% dissolves your internal organs. Fresh air becomes a fast-acting poison. 20 seconds later, your quads buckle like you just failed a heavy squat. You drop straight to the dirt. Yeah, having a good time yet? Before your lungs melt, hit that like button and subscribe right now. It honestly keeps these simulations running. Okay, back to your agonizing death. Whatever you do, don't run toward the trees, because the poison in the air is only half the problem. 1 minute later, your desperate brain realizes the cold, hard, biological truth. Your body now rigidly depends on CO2 to run your entire metabolism. To put it in perspective, Earth's atmosphere only has exactly 0.04% CO2. You are physically drowning in a 21% toxic ocean while actively starving for a measly 0.04% lifeline. It is a mathematical death sentence. So the air is actively poisoning you and violently starving you at the exact same time. 2 minutes later, your deep survival instincts kick in. You violently stumble out of the green park. 3 minutes later, you desperately move toward dark, concrete tunnels. You crawl toward gridlocked highways. You frantically search for fully enclosed parking garages. You violently hunt for old, filthy industrial factories pumping out heavy smog. The gas you fear now saves you. The gas you trust now kills you. You aggressively suck down the black exhaust fumes of an idling truck right in the nick of time. If the air smells clean, get out. Because the idea is that the whole city is going to change now. 10 minutes later, emergency sirens aggressively scream across the entire skyline. Absolute chaos heavily hits the downtown streets. Hospitals fail first. Why? Because their pressurized emergency oxygen tanks are suddenly deadly weapons. Paramedics push the panic button and frantically strap plastic O2 masks onto gasping patients. Delivering 100% pure oxygen instantly flatlines them in under 12 seconds. Bye-bye. 30 minutes later, city parks close their iron gates. Police barricade the entrances to botanical gardens. Beautiful glass greenhouses instantly become Level 4 biological hazard zones. Going for a nature walk will quickly turn you into a bunch of bones. 1 hour later, the infrastructure is a mess. Terrified people crowd near city bus exhaust vents just to breathe. Citizens fight over prime real estate, exactly 2 feet behind an idling garbage truck. They brawl like NFL linebackers just to suck down those carbon emissions. The dirtiest, most industrialized part of town officially becomes the haven. Let's face it, the cleanest place in town could kill you first, and society is about to flip completely. 12 hours later, global lawmakers rewrite the rules of human civilization. Decades of reforestation stop immediately. Billions of tax dollars are diverted to destroy nature. Forest cutting becomes the #1 priority for public safety. Armies deploy bulldozers to crush redwoods. They wipe woods off the face of the earth. It is basically killing 2 birds with 1 stone. They quickly remove the oxygen threat and make room for heavy industry. 24 hours later, insane municipal laws hit the legislative books. Planting a tree in a city becomes a severe biological threat. You try secretly growing a sapling on your apartment balcony, you just committed an act of domestic terrorism against your neighbors. The federal government officially mandates that smokestacks stay on by law. Modern skyscrapers shut off their roof air intakes. Buildings need controlled CO2 pumping systems indoors. And those electric cars? They suddenly become dangerous in this world. An EV leaves absolutely no exhaust trail for you to breathe if you get stranded on the highway. You want a loud V8 muscle car just to survive a traffic jam. In this world, planting a tree isn't hope, it's an attack. It still sounds impossible, but Earth has done something exactly like it before. Exactly 1 year later. Welcome to the grim, dark, new normal. The chaotic screaming has finally settled into a quiet, smoggy routine. Major metropolitan areas are officially designated CO2 districts. You securely live inside a giant, smog-filled concrete dome. Your cozy suburban home is forcefully outfitted with loud, ugly industrial scrubbers. Homes filtering oxygen out become the absolute gold standard of modern survival. The outside world is heavily, aggressively segregated. Ancient natural forests are fenced off, exactly like toxic, highly radioactive exclusion zones. Giant 50-foot concrete walls physically separate human life from wild nature. The public education system completely reverses itself. Inside tightly sealed classrooms, children strictly learning that trees are dangerous becomes a core subject. They systematically learn that simple green leaves are silent, ruthless killers. The geographic map of human wealth completely flips upside down. Rural areas becoming dramatically harder to survive than heavily polluted megacities is a grim daily fact. Living off the grid in a remote cabin guarantees an agonizing death. Don't wander into the countryside. That's where the air gets deadliest. But stepping quietly back from this insane, inverted reality, you have to ask yourself, how could life ever work like this? Well, let's look closely at the underlying biological mechanics. In the cold, grand scheme of the universe, no gas is naturally good or naturally evil. Invisible floating molecules simply do not possess a human moral compass. Gas is just blind, unfeeling chemistry. Life purely depends on what biology originally evolved to handle over millions of years. In this twisted scenario, your fragile cellular machinery fundamentally operates in reverse. Oxygen aggressively damages cells. It acts as a highly reactive, volatile chemical element. It forcefully tears loose electrons directly away from your healthy molecules. It violently rusts your internal organs from the absolute inside out. Ugh. It permanently shreds your complex DNA sequences in a matter of seconds. Meanwhile, carbon dioxide beautifully supports your core internal metabolism. It gracefully binds to your completely reversed red blood cells. It acts as the ultimate clean fuel for your biological engine. Different planetary chemistry simply dictates entirely different basic survival rules. We naturally think oxygen is a magical, life-giving breeze. But nature doesn't care what feels normal. It only cares what survives. And poking holes in the story won't work because Earth has actually seen a gas become deadly before. Let's heavily rewind the ancient planetary clock. We are traveling exactly 2.4 billion years earlier. The ancient Earth looks absolutely nothing like today. The vast, dark oceans are completely dominated by simple, microscopic, anaerobic organisms. They happily thrive in an ancient atmosphere thick with heavy methane and dense carbon dioxide. There is exactly 0% free oxygen floating around. Then, something fishy happens in the shallow, warm waters. Cyanobacteria release oxygen. They rapidly discover a brand new biological trick called photosynthesis. They start greedily eating abundant, warm sunlight for energy. They spit out a brand new, highly reactive chemical waste product. Slowly, relentlessly, this gas begins building up. It leaks from the oceans and saturates the sky. But many early organisms are not ready for it. Oxygen becomes a chemical disaster for life systems. It acts like pouring bleach directly on their cellular walls. It actively triggers a devastating mass extinction event. Geologists officially call this catastrophe the Great Oxidation Event. It killed trillions of living organisms. For early Earth, oxygen wasn't a blessing. It was trouble. But tucked inside that death toll is a deeper lesson about poison becoming power. That catastrophe altered the trajectory of the universe. Oxygen once harmed primitive life. It slaughtered the biological guard. But eventually, the few surviving life forms figured out how to safely harness that reactive gas. Biology successfully used its volatile power to burn cellular fuel exponentially faster. Later, it helped power significantly more complex life forms. It gave weird cells the intense energy needed to build muscles. It fueled the creation of nervous systems. It built the human brain inside your skull right now. One era's deadly poison seamlessly became another era's premium rocket fuel. The very gas that triggered a mass extinction ended up building civilization. Without that deadly chemical shift, you might never have existed at all. You'd just be mud sitting in a puddle. Okay, the simulation is officially over. It is time for a reality check. You are still a regular human living right now in 2026. Your biology is hardwired for 21% oxygen. Humans today still undeniably need oxygen just to survive the afternoon. Breathing carbon dioxide today will definitely turn you into a corpse in 3 minutes. You wouldn't last 5 minutes without air. So, let's give this reality a safety grade. I am handing out an uncompromising safety grade of 1 out of 10. That sounds boring, but surviving this nightmare leaves us with another pivot question. What if Earth's atmosphere suddenly doubled its total oxygen overnight? Would we instantly become athletic superhumans, or just spontaneously burn to a crisp? Well, if you want to confidently survive that next wild simulation, do me a huge favor. Hit that like button and subscribe to the channel right now. End the simulation. Raboscience, signing off.